the website. They have all the links to our bulletins that we're releasing that's updating people. I mentioned to you the article in the Jerusalem Post that that this preacher was just arrested. This is from November 4th. That the person who before I showed you, he was arrested. I'm going to show you also we don't just work in Israel, we work around the world. American anti-terror funding laws today is based on a report that we did a number of years ago. The report was 4 loopholes in the United States anti-terror funding laws. After we released this, the Washington Times reported that U.S. lawmakers want to tighten foreign aid laws. The effort for the U.S. lawmakers was triggered by a report by Palestinian Media Watch. They quote Arlen Specter, they quote Ayan Ross Leitinen, and in fact, we made 6 recommendations for changes in American law. These are the 6 recommendations. 5 of the 6 recommendations passed the Congress 3 weeks later and then passed the Senate. And American law today is based on these restrictions that we put into place. Now, according to the laws that we recommended, the United States can't fund the Palestinian Authority today. Yet they do fund the Palestinian Authority. How do they fund it? Because there was one left open loophole, and that is the waiver possibility. The law had, the last clause of this legislation said, if the president feels that it's in American national interest, he can waive the restrictions. And I want to show you every December that Obama's been in office, we have things like this. And this was the article from the Vietor added that the PA has fulfilled its major obligations, such as recognizing as Israel, etc. And he said it would be devoted. So this is the announcement of the waivers being used by the president. Now, we've been working with Congress since then, saying, you know, I've asked Congress, I said, why do you insist on the waiver? And the members of Congress say, the executive branch, according to the Constitution, is in charge of international relations. We're in charge of the money, so that even when we control the money, though, we don't want to completely control the international relations. Even though we could, we don't want to. But I said, but then the whole legislation is useless. It is absolutely useless. So last year, and this went into effect, it was passed in December of 2014. It was called the Palestine Peace Promotion and Anti-Incitement Act. It was sponsored by Royce, who's Royce, you know, Ed Royce from the Foreign Affairs Committee, and Engels, who was a Democrat, so was a Republican and Democrat. We worked with them on this. What it did is it changed the waiver. The waiver used to be, the president has to say, show it's in American national interest. Now, what is it? He has to show that, and he also has to show that the Palestinian Authority has taken steps to stop incitement. So that now he can't just say, I'm waiving. He has to actually show it. And this year, now unfortunately he had put in the waiver already, so this bill, which was passed in December 2014, will only really start impacting next year. Because this year he can still give money, but next year he can no longer give money unless, because he can't do the waiver this December. He can't do the waiver this December unless he proves, and we of course know that he did. So in any case, that's it. Now give me just one more example here of a success and how our stuff is used in America. And how would I talk about going on the offensive? This is we read in the Palestinian newspaper that this woman over here, who's the governor of Ramallah, her name is Layla Ra'anan, received an award from a Philadelphia councilwoman. Now, we know Layla Ra'anan. Okay. Okay, I'll speak up. Layla Ra'anan is constantly glorifying terrorists. She's constantly going to the graves of terrorists, putting flowers down, speaking about them, honoring them on TV. And then we see she gets an award from an American political figure. So we immediately prepared a special report about her. Then what we did is we contacted people who we knew in Philadelphia who were well connected in Philadelphia. We contacted the media in Philadelphia, told them this report was about to come out. Then, at the same time that we released this report on Layla Ra'anan, we sent the report directly to the councilwoman's office in Philadelphia. Within hours, she was contacted by all these people, as well as the press. Within hours, she issued a condemnation. And then we read, a few weeks later, in the Palestinian Authority official newspaper, we read the following. Councilwoman Maria Sanchez apologized for awarding her citation of honor to Ghanan. The citation was withdrawn from her because of her support for terror. And then the governor of Ramallah, who now lost her award, said as follows. We are not interested in citation of honors that require us to slander our fighters and the supporting pillars of our struggle as terrorists. So here was a great success. Philadelphia, not only was it a success because of the award, but the publicity, the awareness, the newspaper articles in Philadelphia that Palestinian leaders are glorifying terror. This is one of the things that we feel is critical, and these are the things that that we have to. There's many other things that we're working on, going on the offensive. The Palestinian Authority still giving money to terrorists in Israeli prisons. I was in British Parliament a few months ago, and this was the article on the Sunday Express. Foreign aid scandal, UK money is still going to convicted Palestinian terrorists. Talks about what I had presented to the MPs, and then the MPs today called for the government to suspend all aid to the PA until payments to convicted terrorists ceases. And there was a debate a few days later in Parliament. A day after I was in British Parliament, I was in Dutch Parliament. And then I made the similar presentation, and 2 days later, Dutch Parliament passed 2 resolutions demanding that the PA stop its anti-Semitism, which you saw, and also demand that they stop giving salaries to terrorists. So there's all this going on in these different places.
The demand is not backed up. If the demand is not backed up, nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Right. So one of there are 2 issues here. One is having the demand in place and having it pass, because then it creates the awareness. And the second stage is what we're trying to do now is coordinate work with different parliaments in Europe. We just established something very new, which I'll show you here in one moment.
What about the boycott of the Israeli items?
The boycott of Israeli items. Now, how are we fighting against the boycott of the Israeli items, and how are we fighting the boycott of Israeli products? This is something that I was here for this week. And why am I in LA? I was invited by Stand With Us to come. They have their annual conference this weekend, and I spent literally Friday, all of Shabbat, and most of today working with American college students, Canadian college students, 150 of them, teaching them this material, as well as teaching them how to use it on campus. The entire presentation is supplied to them. We're putting it in a Dropbox. They'll all be able to download this presentation and use it. And all of them can then use it on campus. What am I suggesting that they do? I'm suggesting that whenever a campus knows that there's going to be a BDS attack on Israel. Now, what's happened up till now, and I heard this at the beginning of the conference, they say, when they come and they say Israel's apartheid, you prove that it's not apartheid. When they say Israel is this, you prove that Israel's not this. And you end up, and then what happens though is you'll have weeks, sometimes months of debates on campus, and Israel is always on the defensive. Israel's always being prosecuted. And even when the vote is defeated in the end, the bad name of Israel is there. And what we're saying is just the opposite. You certainly have to do that, but you should also do something much stronger. You go on the offensive. And we are now in the process of preparing resolutions to go on the offensive. What does the offensive mean? If you know that in your campus they're planning to have a call to boycott Israel, before they even do it, you put in a request to have the Palestinian Authority boycotted, and not general vague things like apartheid, but because, and here's the first one that we've planned for universities, and we're already discussing it with universities in Britain as well. Whereas the Palestinian Authority names schools after children killers like Dalal Mughrabi, who killed these 12 children, and in the pictures. Whereas the Palestinian Authority continues to honor Hitler. Therefore, we call to boycott we call for no educational contacts between our university and the Palestinian Authority until they cancel the names of all the schools named after terrorists who've killed children, and they stop glorifying Hitler.
Fantastic initiative.
And no money.
So, and what we want to do is, this is one example. We have so much information that we can keep supplying the campuses around the world with endless resolutions, backed up with solid material. The killers of the Hankins are getting salaries from the Palestinian Authority already. As soon as they're in jail, after a month, they're already getting salaries, and they'll get salaries, and they'll get up to 12,000 shekel a month after they're in jail long enough. We're starting a whole campaign. We've already signed, we want to get 25 members of different parliaments. We've already signed 12 members of parliaments, of different parliaments. Many more than 12, but of different parliaments. We have South Africa. We have a number of South America. We've got Congress. We've got Canada. We've got a number of Europeans. We want to get to 25. Then we're going to publicize. It's going to be an international demand that Abbas announced that he's not giving salaries to those 5 Hamas terrorists who killed the Hankins, and that if not, they all pledged to initiate legislation to cut off funding in their countries because of this. And again, the idea here is to, first of all, have an international buzz. My God, first of all, let the world know that Abbas is paying salaries to those killers. That's the first thing. People don't realize how terrible it is. You can't say you're against terror, and then when someone goes and murders a couple like that, you're giving them salaries. So that's the idea. The idea is to create it. And then, like I said, we want to have an ongoing process here at every level. We're going to be doing it at the governmental level, at the parliament level. We're going to be doing it at the campus level. We're going to be doing it with trade unions. We have Palestinian Authority articles praising Israeli trade unions and Israeli employers for giving good treatment to Palestinians, and the Palestinian workers have no rights, and incredible articles that we have found. We want to go to the trade unions and say cut off ties with the PA because they don't give minimum wage, they don't give them health leave, they don't give them this, they don't give them that. In other words, on every level, in every area, and we're setting up a whole infrastructure just to go on the offensive with our material so that it doesn't just stay on our website. We've been trying to get organizations for years to use it. Some of them do, some of them don't. We realize that we have to take the initiative and we're going to work with all we're not creating new massive infrastructure here. We want to work with all the different organizations on campus. I spoke today with all the different campus leaders about this new project, and they all want to go ahead and do it. We spoke with the campus leaders in Britain. They want to do it. So it's a matter now of coordinating it, putting it together, and then having these international efforts each time on a different theme, and let the PA, instead of Israel being challenged all the time on baseless arguments, we want to have the PA challenged literally continuously. And when they have one vote and it's over, the next day given another request for another vote because on another topic a little bit related. So that's the goal, that's the plans. This is our material. The hope, we can do two things. One, change Israel's position in the world. Instead of Israel being isolated as the problem, the world must wake up and learn this and realize that Israel is not the problem. And we've had great success with many parliamentarians. We want to expand this till the entire world eventually gets this message. Thank you. Yes. So put up so much international pressure that eventually the company decided that they were going to close down that plant and move the plant someplace else. Now, I just want to show you, I don't know if you can see, you really can't see because it's a bit small, but I just want to show you one of the quotes here. This is an article that appeared in the official Palestinian newspaper, and what's the quote? Whenever Palestinian workers have the opportunity to work for Israeli employers, they are quick to quit their job with their Palestinian employers for reasons having to do with salaries and other rights. And then this whole article goes on to show how Israel treats the workers beautifully and the Palestinians don't. The purpose of the article is not to praise Israel, it was to condemn the Palestinian employers. But in the end, though, we have a fantastic tool here to show people, look how Israel treats the workers and look how they don't. Now, before everybody leaves, I just want to say one more thing. We got plenty of questions.
You're not going anywhere.
Okay, good. I just wanted to put this on because this is critical. We need support. And let me just say this, that Palestinian Media Watch is funded by private contributions. We have 16 people working. We are creating changes all over the world on a very small budget. We are very efficient. When I say a small budget, we have an $800,000 a year budget right now. We very urgent, and we have, like I say, 16 workers doing all this, doing the traveling. We have to grow. Our goal now is over the next 2 months to try to get up to $1 million for the next budget, just to be able to continue doing this and do it even a little bit stronger. So anyone who can help us, we have envelopes that we'll be giving out at the end so you can get your tax deduction. So please don't forget that you need your support. Yes?